Yeah, I won't. I'm just gonna say
I'm pressing record. We're recording.
we're recording. All right. So we just
Okay.
bullshitted for what 5 minutes
Yes.
offline after our
Yeah.
last gathering.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And what
we
we're
were
going to
talking
try and
about
do is get through the next, because this is already, because we're 9 minutes in before we press record. So we only have to make it 30 minutes without getting us all sued.
yes. You guys just missed the best 9 minutes of your lives. By the way.
Yeah, the best 5 minutes. We should have the
Okay.
the uncensored version.
When we do our Patreon, we'll have the uncensored version that you have to pay for.
We'll slander everybody.
Everybody's getting it.
Anyway, I just want to say something. If your website has an entire section explaining why you're not a pyramid scheme, you're probably a pyramid scheme.
It's probably a scheme.
So yeah, I mean, these people are, they're really good at networking, and that's all they're good at. But anyway, what were we actually going to talk about?
So what we're going to talk about is what I'm going to do for a month.
Oh, boring.
It's boring.
Dan just wants to rip into people, just like tear shit to shreds.
But so, because what we're going to do is talk about training in real life. So, because people spend their time looking at, researching, talking about fantasy programs and about how jacked they'd be if only they did this program.
If I only had time to go to the gym and do this long program for hours.
Well, this is what I think is quite funny about a lot of the people. So I know one of them. So I have a friend that I know through uni. Yeah, no, he's not really actually he's not really a friend. But I'm an acquaintance.
A friend. It's a friend of.
I know a guy.
I know a guy who has a friend.
I know a guy who I talk to regularly, whose business is built on Instagram, who's online trainer, who's very successful financially. What's that?
Okay. Yeah, no, you did. I asked you to define successful. And then
so I know because I put him in touch with the accountant I know in the fitness industry. He's making north of $150,000 a year. Half of that is through product placement on his Instagram page.
Wow, good for him.
And the other half of is selling. Half of that's product placement, which are supplements that he sells, that he actually uses. So he uses those supplements and he promotes them through his site. Yep.
Are these dick pills?
No.
Okay.
But half of his revenue comes from the sale of those supplements, and the other half basically comes from training programs. He's been going for 2 years. He's never seen a client in real life.
That's awesome. Good for him.
And the thing is too, look, he's never actually coached anybody in real life. And he's finished his degree. He's done the degree that I'm hopefully going to finish this year. So he finished that 2 years ago, and he's been working. Basically, his whole business is Instagram based, but he's never actually seen a client, not a single one. Super successful, and I think he is only one famous client away from being on Ellen, that kind of thing.
I think they pulled Ellen off the air.
Oh, did they? Well,
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, same as Oprah. But you know what I mean? So if he can manage to ingratiate himself with somebody who's actually famous or making a movie or something like that, or he could make millions because the model that he's got is infinitely rampable, and it'll only be dependent on how much exposure he can get. And the reason I think that's super interesting is because that's where we've got to. That's where we've got to in the fitness industry. There's somebody who's never actually coached anybody in real life is making more money than somebody who's a professional strength and conditioning coach working with an elite sporting organisation. Nobody. I would say there would be not nobody. There'd be very few strength and conditioning coaches working, say, like in the AFL or the which is Australian Football League, or even in the even at college level. There'd be very few people making $150,000, $200,000 a year. Working that level. There's coaches making millions. There's very few strength and conditioning coaches, working at, the University of Connecticut or, University of New South Wales or whatever, working with high-level athletes that are getting paid $200,000 plus.
No, they're absolutely not.
A year. And especially not for 20 hours work a week, which is what he does. So 18 to 20 hours work a week. And the rest of the time, he's playing video games.
I need this business model.
Yeah, and this is how it works. So the thing is, it is a model.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think kind of, not to hijack your thing, but like I think what we're gonna look back on this era is like, in the 50s and 60s when Nautilus came in and like introduced a whole cable system and like that circuit routine or whatever, where people got fuck all results out of it. And it replaced like, Indian clubs and dip bars and pull-up bars and gyms and barbells. And now we're kind of like coming out of that like 70 years later into like everybody wants to use barbells again because it works.
And I had this discussion with somebody the other day around training. Nothing's ever changed. People's responses to training, and I've talked about it before. Athletes now aren't better than they were in the 50s.
Yeah.
The only difference is that we have more time. You had guys that were competing at a high level in the 50s and 60s who had a job.
Yeah.
They were insurance salesmen or
they worked on the docks. Boxers
you had Olympians that were traveling to the Olympics on a fucking boat. And they're on a boat for 3 weeks and then they turn up and ran and won a gold medal. They weren't worse athletes than we were today. You have a look at 100 meters. The 100 meters is an easy one for people to look at. If you look at the athletes from 40 years ago, people are running on cinder tracks with shoes that have got nails banged through them, as opposed to running on rebound ace tracks, with cutting edge equipment, doctors, pharmaceutical, massage therapists, dietitians, who do nothing else but just spend their whole time preparing to compete, versus somebody who was competing and training after they finished working 60 hours a week. Athletes haven't changed. The training methods, the things that get results are exactly the same. So people have these super complex programs, and like I always sort of say, it's the 80-20 rule or whatever you want to call it. People are getting 80% of the results from 20% of the work. It's those two exercises you're doing. It's the squatting that you're doing and the barbell row that you're doing. All the other stuff is garbage and makes no difference. Very little difference, neither here nor there. And it's just all the stuff that they're doing. Like I said, people with training now, radar technology and on the pitch, they're gathering all this data. They're employing 2 analysts to look at the data uh, and the people who are the head coaches still don't know how the fuck to use it. You're gathering data for people to talk about. It has no impact. And I say this, I've spoken to people working in professional sport internationally who know that it's a waste of fucking time. You're not changing anything about how you're training. You're not changing anything about how you're preparing for matches based on on data. Nothing has changed. People aren't any better. They're just different. They've got a bit more exposure to recovery modalities, and they just have more time to recover and more time to prepare. So, as athletes, things haven't changed, and the primary elements of strength and conditioning haven't changed.
The human body hasn't evolved.
Yeah, well, not to any extent that makes anybody difference.
Yeah,
we've got more access to calories. That's the big thing. We've got a surplus of calories, and we're able to get what we need to fuel our performance. That's really and to us, to regular people, it makes no difference because athletes aren't made; they're born. So people think it's, Rudy's real, like that's a real story, that somebody just works super hard and they make it to the top. That is a pile of garbage. Well, all you need to know is to know that's, and I say, go and stand. You or me or Dan, we could go to an NFL practice session and we could stand on the pitch. We are not the same as all those other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're way better looking.
We're way better looking. And you can do that in any sport.
Well, I've seen professional fighters who are like top level, and I've seen like mid-tier guys, and it's night and day. And fighting for me is one of those things where it's the closest because there's a real technical aspect to it, and it's an individual sport, right? Yeah. And that's why I liked fighting, was because there's less genetic freaks out there. But when you get a genetic freak who is just a step above athletically, he destroys those people.
See, the problem, fighting, I think, is one of those things is a little bit different. And I say that because fighting is not just about is not a true athletic performance. Because the thing is, you and I both know, so I have fought people that if we fought in the gym, the result would be different in its entirety.
Yeah.
That when it came down to it, it's about how you manage the pressure and how you manage the stress in the time. So I've fought competitively. I've fought in a ring, and I've fought outside of a ring where the result is far more important
for your life.
For my life.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the difference is my technique and my access to techniques are quite minimal, but what I can do very effectively, and I can deal with the stress.
Yes.
So fighting, I think, for me is a little bit different. But still in fighting now, we're getting to the stage where people who are just athletes, who are phenomenal athletes, are being attracted by the opportunity to make money from the sport, who are phenomenal athletes who are then gathering the technical skills that they require.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's most obvious in the UFC in the heavyweight division where NFL players are coming over.
Yes.
And they're having a massive impact very quickly because they're phenomenal athletes.
Yes.
And in the heavyweight division, there's not as much technical expertise required as in the lighter divisions.
Yeah, there's not as much technical ability. There are not enough technical athletes to draw from, because the thing is, I think in the higher divisions, people are able to go to the NFL or the NBA or be successful in other sports, which they could earn money. You cannot be a professional NBA player and weigh in at straw weight.
No.
It doesn't matter how good an athlete you are. You're not just going to work harder like Rudy did, and you're not going to like work harder and make it based on. And this is the thing, and it's not a bad thing, but people have this false idea that the only difference is their work ethic. We all know. I know professional athletes who are lazy as fuck, and they're still always going to be better than everybody else because they are physiological freaks. And people just have to get their heads around that, because that's just what it is. So, but for regular people, I think the thing is this people compare themselves to Instagram and what they see on Twitter, and it's garbage, because we know most people have look the way they do, not based on the programs that they're selling.
Yep. Agreed.
So they're promoting their programs that have absolutely nothing to do. That had absolutely nothing to do with making them what they are. Yep.
Yep.
2, there's a huge pharmaceutical investment that goes on, and people think, "Oh, haters going to hate." We all know that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's been that way forever.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but you can go and have a look. You can go and have a look at Wolverine, or you can go and have a look at like Hugh Jackman. Look at Hugh Jackman when he's Wolverine. Look at Hugh Jackman when he's doing a musical. They are not the same fucking person.
I hate that thing where it's like, oh, this actor gained 24 pounds of muscle in 3 months to play the role of blah, blah.
Yes.
Like, with a serious course of HGH and testosterone.
Yes. He was throwing, the studio was throwing $5,000 a week at that pharmaceutically.
Mm-hmm. And that's
and he was training 7 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. And eating everything that came his way. Yes. And I fucking absolutely hate when they say, I hate when they say, "Oh yeah, he gained muscle and lost fat." No, he fucking didn't.
Yes.
It's physiologically impossible.
Those things don't happen. So people are selling programs that they're not actually doing.
Yep.
That had no impact on how they look or how they're performing at the current time. 2, there's a huge pharmaceutical element. Everybody knows that. 3, what you see is not necessarily what you get, because the other thing we know, I was looking at this an article this week. They were going through all the Instagram fitness personalities that have committed suicide. Oof. Which is huge.
Is that are you saying that's good or bad?
That's bad.
Okay. Bad that they killed themselves. We don't want that.
Well, the thing is that they're selling something that's not true. What you're looking at is not reality, and it's not here nor there. I'm just saying you have to realize when you're looking at it, what you're looking at might not necessarily be reality.
Yeah, well, the fitness people are selling an image that they worked for 3 to 6 months and peaked at for 2 days.
Yeah,
that's what
and you're looking at photos.
Yeah, and you're
looking at photos of them from 8 years ago,
or 2 weeks after.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to work out what's important to us in the now. So we were talking in past recording about that IP program. I'm going to train this month. I'm not going to do S1, S2, C1, C2, R1, R2. I'm going to do a modified version of that. So what's that going to be, Patty? What did we talk about before? Do you remember?
We talked about you doing 3 exercises, 1 push, 1 pull, and one hip or one hinge or one quad dominant exercise for 30 seconds with a 30-second break for 10 minutes, correct?
Yeah, I think we made it even simpler than that.
It was like 30 seconds per
So,
exercise.
I think
So
so. Let's.
3 circuits.
Yep. So let's put it together. So we're going to do. I'm going to do two sessions. I think one of them we had. So one of them was goblet squatting in one
Yep.
session,
Mm-hmm.
And RDLs in the other.
Yep.
And then we're going to do floor pressing in one.
Yep.
And rowing in the other.
Yep.
And we're going to do some planking
Overhead.
in one.
Yep.
And we're going to do some lateral work, side arches in the other.
Yes.
So we're going to put we're going to do some goblet squats and some rows.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do the goblet squatting and the rowing
And the planking.
and the planking.
Yep.
And the other one we'll do the RDLs.
Yep.
Do we say push-ups or floor pressing?
Floor press, because we did. You know what? Actually, we said we didn't want to do anything that we would be testing. So the
Yes.
testing is the push-up, and the floor press is the exercise.
Yeah.
And then I think we decided that we were going to do something different than the goblet squat, because the goblet squat is going to be part of the testing. So we're going to like do potato sack squats or something like that instead,
Okay.
right?
So let's do that. So do potato sack squats, kettlebell rows,
Yeah.
and a plank.
Plank,
And we'll do RDLs,
floor press,
floor press,
side arch.
and side arch. Super
Right.
simple.
And then-
And we're only going to invest. We're only going to invest 10 minutes.
Yeah. So it's going to be 30 seconds per exercise with a 30-second break. So that's like 2 minutes, right? And you're going to try and get like 5 circuits in 10 minutes.
No, your maths is even worse than mine.
Right.
We're going to do. So what did we work it out to be? We
If it's
worked
30
it out to be
seconds
a
per
minute-
exercise and there's
a
3
minute each.
exercises.
A
No,
minute.
it was 30 seconds each.
No, shut up. It's a minute. No, because no. Listen.
Okay.
So if we allocate 1 minute.
Yeah.
In total to each exercise,
Yeah.
that's 3 minutes, and
Yep.
we do it 3 times. That's 9 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and we got that 1 minute spare.
Oh, 1 minute break in between. That leaves it 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll do. So we can decide it now because this illustrates my point. It doesn't make any fucking difference.
Doesn't matter.
So what we're going to do, we'll do. So say if we do. If we do. What do you think? 40 seconds and 20 seconds rest.
Yeah. Do
So
40
we
seconds
do-
of work, 20 seconds rest, and then move to that'll cover your movement to your next exercise.
Yep.
Kicking off, do your 40 seconds, 20 seconds, move to the next one, and then you're going to get a full minute break, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to try and do like 3 circuits in 10 minutes,
Yep.
and that's it.
As simple as that. So it's 10 minutes, investing 10 minutes of time
Mm-hmm.
per
And
day.
I think we were looking at. Were we looking at getting 15 sessions in the first month?
Yeah, because what we're going to do is we're going to do it every other day.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do it every other day. So we'll do, so we get 15 sessions in a month.
See what you look like in terms of like your push-ups and your squats.
Yeah. And see how that goes, just with that investment. So we'll do, and we'll test, we're doing the goblet squats and the push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do, so what's today? Is today the 1st?
No, today's the 30th, so you got 2 days before the first.
Yeah. The
So
first
I'll do
is
it this afternoon
tomorrow.
when we
Okay.
finish, when you guys go Betty Buys.
Nice.
So I'll do it today.
Yep.
I'll test. I'll do the goblet squats and I'll do the push-ups and look like hot garbage when I do them.
I can't wait to see this. So excited.
And then I'll do session 1 and session 2 every other day.
All right, that works.
And I'll record them. So what I'll try and do, what will end up happening in practice, because once again, being realistic, what I'll do, so I'm going back to work tomorrow. So I've got 7 days on. So probably what I'll try and do is I'll do a session each day and try and fit that into my schedule.
Yeah.
Knowing that it probably won't work out, but I'll try and get try and get 8 sessions of each in over a month, and then I'll retest at the end of the month.
Yeah. So we're looking at like 16 sessions this month.
Yeah. And I think the other important thing is to, and this is a problem. People think it's an all or nothing kind of thing. So doing something's better than doing nothing. And just because you can't do what's ideal doesn't mean you should do nothing at all. So I've had people that I've had exchanges with about programming that I've gone backwards and forwards with for more than a month about a program before I realised that they hadn't done anything at all. So that they were trying to, and I know other coaches that have been in the same position. I had this conversation with Lyle McDonald. So he had somebody that was doing it for paying him for almost 6 months before they did anything. That they were spending their time trying to develop the perfect program before they did anything at all.
So it's like what we did with the podcast.
Yes.
We tried to develop the perfect podcast, and then just turned out we just needed to fucking turn the camera on and go.
And do anything. Yeah, just do something.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even mean it to, because you're too retarded to decide that. But you just, and I know that'll get me cancelled in America, but there's only like 10 people that have watched it anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. But you're 100% right. So the thing is, you try and do it, make it so it's perfect. Doing something's better than doing nothing at all. So the number of these that we've done just today, the next one we've got better just as we've gone on today.
Yeah, because there's a back and forth, there's a flow to it, right? Yeah. And it's very similar to training. Like when you're actually doing something, your back and forth with your coach becomes much better because you have something to report as opposed to just taking in information. And
I think this will get more interesting because as we do more of them, we'll have more of a shared vocabulary. So
nomenclature is very important.
We'll all understand what we're talking about, and it'll be more interesting when we do actually have a look at the minutiae of things, if it's important to do, that we can talk about it more specifically. Because, we know there's heaps to talk about testing. There's heaps to talk about strength testing standards. There's heaps to talk about training. But essentially what we're going to do is just for the next month, I'm just going to do something rather than doing nothing. And we'll see what difference that makes it all. And the thing is too, I'm not expecting it to be amazing because it's 1 month.
I fucking am.
No, it'll be 1 month of training. Because the other thing is too that I'm not, and this is the thing, people do these transformations. So if I was really going to do a transformation, I'd get, what would we need? We'd need a shitload of tests. Yep. We'd have some DMT. I would diet. I would stop drinking. I would diet to the extent that all I would eat would be chicken, broccoli, and rice. And in a month's time, I'd want to throw myself.
You'd be so fucking miserable.
Off a cliff, like lots of Instagram influencers have already done, and that's what drives them to it.
So it's because you're taking the joy from your life. Like with that training program, right? You still have room to do the shit that you want to do. Because if you take away all your enjoyment out of life, then what's the point? You're not supplementing your life. You're detracting from it.
Oh, Paddy,
The whole thing
100%. I'm going to hate investing that 10 minutes a day in trading. Yes, Daniel.
But you have to wait for your new training shoes to come in before you can start training.
What's that?
You have to wait for your training shoes to come in.
You have to wait for your new training shoes to come in.
Oh, yeah, my shoes.
This training program.
Just train fucking barefoot. God damn it.
Yeah, barefoot is so 2008. I saw a whole program. You know, there's a whole company built on teaching people how to be barefoot.
Get the. I just can't anymore. I can't. It's
yeah.
like
What happened to What happened to? Remember, what was his name? The guy that kind of.
Neil Portal.
Yes.
Neil Portal. He's still out there doing his stupid movement stuff. He's still doing it.
Now he's nowhere.
Well,
Wait for a stage where you couldn't look left or right without seeing him, and everybody's talking about it.
Well, everybody was like, oh, I got to get a movement coach. Yes. Movement coach. What do you need a movement coach? That's like you would rather have a movement coach to learn how to punch someone harder.
Yes, see, this is what we have to get. We have to get all the important material out of the way so we can get to the really interesting bit about tearing down other people. Because that's
we're not tearing them down. It's finding out what is that 20% that's going to give you that 80% performance. Is it that 20% better invested in a movement coach or in a strength routine?
Yeah. So we're going to get to that stage where we'll just spend 40 minutes each blog just tearing somebody apart. So,
all right. We got like 60 seconds.
That's what people will be really interested in.
That's all they're going to care about.
So we've got less than a minute left. So what's my program going to be? My program's going to be potato sack squats.
Yep.
Elbow rows.
Rows.
Planks.
And plank.
On one day.
And then, yep.
RDLs.
Floor press.
Floor press.
Side arches.
Side arch.
All right.
That's it.
Good job, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you very much.
Peace out, homies.
Okay. I want to talk to you again, but I won't record it. We're not going to do another one.